Hello everybody, and thank you so much for spending time with us today and watching this video. I'm super thankful to all of the Upcycled Cloth Collective members who tune in and watch these videos and participate and engage with us. So today I feel very lucky that Gretel has agreed to chat with me, and she is going to share her journey about upcycling fabrics with us. So Gretel, over to you. How did you start upcycling fabrics in the first place?
I think for me, it's something that's always been there. My mother did it.
Okay.
One of the classic ones was we had a cycle where bathroom curtains were made of toweling.
Okay.
And when the bath towels were getting tatty, the curtains became bath towels. And then they got cut down to become hand towels. And then they got used for other things and dog towels. And then eventually they ended up in a shed.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and she made, she bought things when she couldn't afford much. She bought things at jumble sales and took them apart to make clothes for me.
Okay. And what was the average lifespan of a towel from curtain to shed?
Oh gosh, I have no idea.
Okay. Okay. I only ask because I at the moment have a little toweling rag in my kitchen that I realized this week I've been using for more than 25 years. And it's my favorite wiping cloth for my kitchen counters. It's just the perfect thickness and size and absorbency.
Does the job.
Mm, mm,
So why throw it away?
absolutely. Absolutely. And what are your favorite fabrics to upcycle?
At the moment, I'm doing a lot of work with cotton, mostly scraps either from my own projects or from other people's projects. I have friends who send me bags of little scraps through the post, and it's terribly exciting because you never know what's coming. So I'm sort of the end use for all sorts of things.
Oh, that's wonderful. And how did you become their kind of person to gift? Did they know because you've made so many things for them, or did you say to them, please, would you gift me the stuff?
It's just arisen naturally. They say, oh, I've got a load of bits that are too small for anyone to use. And I say, I'll have them, please.
That's beautiful.
So they come all over.
That's beautiful, because you're really proving them wrong that they aren't too small to be used, are they?
That's it. What I'm trying to work towards is, wherever possible, is being a zero waste crafter.
Okay. Okay. And what inspires you the most about working with upcycled textiles?
I like the memories associated with it. I've done some things with an old friend who died, and he had a lot of neckties, He was a hotel manager. So I had those. And I've done 2 quilts with big sort of circles of neckties. And then as the remainders, I've made sort of comfort cushions for his grandchildren. And then I sort of looked at this little bag of scraps. These are just these synthetic ones. Little bag of scraps. Where is it? It's just waiting to go onto the sewing machine to be made up. And this is the second scraps from scraps.
Wow, that's beautiful.
And it's just using the little bits as they come along, and just so it's just doing a herringbone over the edges.
Okay, so do you machine stitch at all, or is that just the hand stitched herringbone?
Just hand stitch.
Okay, okay. Do you
I
finish
use a bit of purple lining.
Okay. Do you finish the edges off at all?
No, because they're all captured within the herringbone.
Okay. Okay.
If it was going to be something that's going to take an awful lot of wear,
yes,
I would finish them all off.
Okay.
But for this one, I mean, this is partly a symbolic thing about you. Sometimes people feel their life is just sort of a little pile of scraps and it's useless. And you say, yeah, but put them together with love, stitch them together, and you can get this beautiful thing.
Oh, that's such a beautiful way of looking at things. The way you've described it, it certainly looks like it's love made visible.
That's the idea. That's the idea.
And how does your family feel about the upcycling that you do?
It's fairly natural in the family. Occasionally my mother's a little horrified.
Okay.
She says she's one of these people who has an idea of what will people think.
Okay.
I don't care.
That's beautiful.
That's not the way I think, doesn't matter.
Mm, mm. And do you think maybe that attitude of what will people think is what's holding a lot of people back from upcycling more?
I think it's holding a lot of people back from upcycling and mending.
Okay. Okay. And
Because they don't want to think that they don't want people to think they can't afford to buy new or whatever, that you've got to be smart.
and that's actually quite sad, because why can't it be that what would people think is people would think that I'm mindful about how I'm using the resources of the planet?
Yeah.
Rather than will people think that I'm poor?
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we can probably address in the group.
Yeah, another fabric that I'm working with at the moment is old T-shirts. I did someone a quilt out of her daughter's first-year baby clothes, and I've done a few other T-shirt quilts. And now I'm working with the remains of those to make probably a lap quilt.
Okay.
Out of a few crazy pieces.
Do you enjoy making quilts?
Yeah, I do.
And what do you use for the batting inside?
Well, it depends who the quilt's for. If I'm doing things for children or for student age people, then I don't do the batting inside. I put a fleece blanket on the back so that it's all grunge proof and washable.
Ah, that's sneaky.
Well, I know how grotty things can get when you're a student, and it makes it easy for them to care for them.
So does it help to understand and know the person you're making the item for?
Oh, yes. Yes. Yes, and I have got a big roll of quilting batting, which is largely cotton, because I try to avoid too much polyester and things when I can. And I'm looking at some things. A friend was moving house, and she's turned out a load of fabrics and things she doesn't want. So, can I use those for backing? And let's use what I have in the house.
Why do you think more people aren't using what they have, that they're more inclined to give it away than to take ownership of it themselves?
I think one of the things, I know this from my own experience, one of the things is storage. You've got to have somewhere to put all this stuff. I have a pile of jeans waiting to be recycled. And there's a big basket full of them. So you have to have somewhere to put it.
And what are those jeans going to become?
Well, I'm thinking of turning 2 pairs into a long skirt. And there might be a quilt or a throw or something, or some sort of rug for carrying around in the car or something.
Do you find that your projects kind of evolve over time? You don't always know what they're going to be, and then some at the right moment they kind of pop up and tell you what they want to become?
Yeah, I had one which I'd started, which was sewing under the sewing machine with small squares of fabric, and suddenly I realized they didn't want to be sewn together like that. They wanted to be included in a hexagon quilt.
Okay.
So I unpicked them all. And then they'll put over templates.
So they changed their minds.
They changed their minds.
That's beautiful. I love that you're prepared to work with the fabrics and the resources and allow them to become what they want to be.
Yeah, and the other thing is to not be dictated to by what other people think a fabric should be. Another one of my things, where is it? Here it is, that I've done. I don't know if you've seen it. You can get this sari silk ribbon, which you're theoretically supposed to knit with. And I've turned it.
Oh, that's delicious.
Oh
my goodness. That is a true labor of patience and love.
That's 1/2-inch hexagons. So
Now,
yeah,
I've seen your hexagons before. How long does it take you to make a thing like that?
it varies. This one I know was on and off for over a year because it was for me, so it kept getting deprioritized.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Yeah, well, I had to have it done in time for a particular wedding.
Okay.
Where my friend was insisting I should wear this.
Okay. Okay. And do you enjoy wearing your own upcycled garments to fancy events like weddings?
Yeah, yeah. I don't like the tyranny of you must go out and buy something new and you must be different from everyone else. So I can be different from everyone else in my own way.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah, I've never understood this horror of two people arriving wearing the same dress. Well, maybe it just shows they have good taste, but you know.
Mm, mm. I find it interesting that you use the word tyranny there.
I think the way marketing and social expectations are layered onto us, I think it is a tyranny. And I think often the people who are worst hit by it are those who can least afford to follow that pattern, but they feel they must. I wore that dress last time, I can't wear it again. Why not? If it's your best frock, just wear it to the best occasions.
I love that insight. That's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't like I think you see TV and the advertising, and you just think this is just another lot of stuff I can live without.
Do you think we typically, most people buy more stuff than they really need?
Oh yeah. Yeah, otherwise why would we have the huge problems with landfill with textiles, most of which is hardly worn? It's perfectly good to go for other things. We wouldn't have the problem. I think one of the biggest problem is nowadays clothing is so cheap. When I was a kid, we were dressed out of either mum hand knitted us jumpers, or she made us skirts and dresses and things out from remnants from the market. And that was what she could afford, so you had what you needed. But what we had was good quality.
I find it very interesting that a lot of people insist that clothing should be cheap, and yet that saving depends on slave labor.
Exactly.
And that so many people are okay with that.
Because they can't see it, so it's not real, I think.
Yeah.
You say I've done these quilts out of t-shirts, which you have to, if I'm doing those, I have to put an iron-on interfacing on the back to stabilize them. Otherwise they stretch all over the place when you're sewing. But then I'm working with all these little fragments left over, because I think those workers who made those things, who grew the cotton, the farmers all the way through, are better honored by using and respecting every piece of fabric.
I love that.
I would rather have them being paid a better wage. There are some initiatives. There's the Better Cotton initiative, which is it's not as far as fair trade, but it's anti-child labour, reduce pesticides, all sorts of things, and the farmers get an incentive for that. If I have to go and buy something, I'm checking labels to see if it has come from one of those schemes.
That is a great way of changing things. And I think the word better there is a word that we can take out of this, because I think a lot of people feel overwhelmed that there's no kind of magic bullet ideal solution for this whole thing. And we all need to kind of make peace with the fact that all we can do is better.
Yes. And if you think about it, well, certainly in the UK, back in the 70s, when I first started venturing into the ideas of fair trade and things, it was really marginal. But now things like fair trade coffee, ecologically friendly washing, cleaning products and things, they're
Mm.
fairly mainstream.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah,
Do
I
you?
almost want to see the people who don't use them to ask, why don't you?
Mm. Mm. Do you feel that the culture is shifting significantly, or are we still on the fringe?
I think, sadly, we're still on the fringe. I think what we've got to do is to join up with the climate change activism and everything,
Mm.
and to look at the whole picture.
Mm.
And we've got to, as you said, we've got to stop looking for this silver bullet that's going to put everything right. Each of us has to take responsibility for our own choices.
Mm.
And I know some people financially, they're in a difficult position.
Mm.
So perhaps they don't have that option.
Mm.
But far more people have the option than take it.
Yes, yes. I find that I think that there's just a general feeling with people that they say to themselves, well, it's such a big challenge. Anything I do would only be a drop in the ocean, so why bother?
Yes, but there was a charity I worked with many years ago who had a slogan at one stage of many drops fill the bucket.
Mm. Mm. Absolutely. Many drops do fill the bucket.
So if we all, it's supply and demand.
Mm.
If we start changing the demand, then the supply will change.
Mm. Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel that people are also very quick to just blame the corporates. They're like, well, the corporate structure does this, so, how can we
But
do anything?
yeah, but they give us what we want.
Yes, yes,
If we keep going back and buying more, they will keep making it. If we stop buying it, they'll get the message.
yes, yes. So the other side to that argument that a lot of people make is, well, if we stop buying, then people lose jobs.
Well, we've got to look at what alternatives we go for.
Mm.
And think about it, perhaps, if those lovely people in Bangladesh were not turning out a t-shirt every minute or something,
Mm.
if they were given more time and a better quality fabric to work with to make something that's going to last more,
Mm.
they have their salary.
Mm.
But I think it's a multi-pronged thing. We can make our own individual choices,
Mm.
but then there's a certain amount of lobbying and being prepared to ask awkward questions in shops and
Mm. Mm.
informing yourself. I can send you a link to the Better Cotton initiative if you like.
That would be wonderful. I'd love to add that when I post this video. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Is bettercotton only active in the UK, or are they a global movement?
I think it's fairly global. There's certainly a lot. IKEA's involved in it,
Mm.
which is obviously global.
Mm.
Lots of big companies are now
Mm. Mm.
saying they will prioritise only that. And in my day job, I was involved in the project that helped set that up.
Okay.
And the industry first recognised there was a need for it.
Okay. That's very interesting. So it sounds like you've kind of been an activist for your whole life.
Pretty much, yes. Yes, people laughed at me when I was talking about saving water back in the 80s and that we've got plenty of water. And now, oh, look, we haven't got so much.
Mm. Mm.
We need to talk about gardening without pesticides.
Mm.
Do we need to eat so much meat? All these controversial things.
Mm. Mm.
Gets us away from upcycled cloth, I know, but it's all joined up, I think. It's all to do with our sort of life attitude.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's very systemic, and in my mind, by focusing on the textiles, we're kind of giving people a way in to begin to then have a broader conversation.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, and I think we need to be bold enough to really have those conversations with people.
Mm. Mm. How do your friends respond when you do have these conversations with them?
Some of them find it difficult and we have to agree to differ.
Okay.
quite a few of them are on the sort of same page. You know, sometimes when I'm doing something with really little tiny bits of fabric or something, they just say "mad woman" in a loving way. But they understand what's behind it.
Yes, yes. And clearly the mad woman doesn't take it too personally because you continue with what you're doing.
That and other things. I've just been doing things like using old knitting yarn cones and pistachio shells. You know, when I've eaten the pistachios, to make little Christmas trees.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so clever.
Well, it just occurred to my funny little brain.
What a great idea.
You know, I know I put the shells in the compost, and 2 years later they're still there.
Okay.
Not broken down. I think it must be something I can do with these.
Okay. Okay.
If you hear any noises off, it's people collecting children's craft packs from my porch.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. What a great way to rethink and re-engineer resources that are already there.
Yeah, I think there's so much we can do if we use a bit of imagination. I mean, I'm lucky. I'm very lucky because I was brought up on the expectation that by the age of 16, I'd be able to make my own clothes.
Ah, okay.
So, you know, not only having seen the sewing machine all my life, I've been using it from about the age of 10. So it's sort of, people say, when did you start sewing? And I say, I can't remember not sewing.
Do you think it's easier for people who were brought up in that mindset than it is for people who come to it later in life?
Probably because you absorb so much very young. And once you've got the basics in place, you can do a lot. I think people don't have those sort of life skills anymore a lot of the time. Even taking up a hem can be a challenge.
I know I wasn't taught to take up hems. My mom didn't like that kind of sewing or anything like that, and I only started upcycling textiles much later in my life. Although, yes,
it's the fun, it's the imagination. So you look at something and you think, what can I do with that?
And somebody actually pointed out to me this week that imagination is a fully renewable resource.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. And you don't have to be able to buy a special kit to do anything.
In fact, most of the fun in the process is thinking of ways to do it without this special kit.
Yes. Yes, it's the free thinking bit.
Yes. So how long have you been a member of the Upcycled Cloth Collective, Gretel?
I think that's only been this year, probably.
Okay. And how did you find us?
A friend of mine pointed me in this direction.
Oh, fantastic. Please will you thank her? I'm so happy to have you in the group.
Well, she's my sort of adopted sister in these matters.
Okay. And what do you enjoy most about being part of the community?
I like seeing all the ideas, and when someone posts something, you can post a question about okay, I've got this, or how do I deal with this? And then you'll have ideas coming from all over the world, different people bringing their different experiences and pooling them, and I think that's great.
I also
like the community that nothing is beyond us.
Oh, I love that. We should make that our slogan, nothing is beyond us.
Yeah, a friend gave me her favoriteest cardigan in the world ever. She's been wearing it for 14 or 15 years. And parts of it are in shreds. And she says, can you do something with that? And then you sort of look at it and you scratch your head and you look at the cuffs are threadbare and with runs and you go, yeah, sure.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I actually saw somewhere the other day, somebody had posted a jersey that a man had been wearing his entire lifetime, and the sleeves had been reknitted several times and all of that. And I'm quite fascinated by the notion of creating what I call forever garments. So garments that you just keep extending the lifespan until the end of your life. You
Yes.
can just keep patching them if you want to.
Yes.
And that, to me, I find quite a beautiful process.
Yeah, I agree. It's just carrying on with things and.
I do think that when we throw things away, it's actually a decision to give up.
Yes, when there comes a time when something can only end up as a cleaning rag or something. But that's a decision that has to be made.
I suspect it takes things a while to reach that point in your home.
I'm afraid so. My mother has this idea that I can't give anything to charity shops because no self-respecting tramp would wear anything I've finished with.
And you know, I've actually had that experience. I once tried to give a dress. A person came to my house and was begging for clothing, and I gave her a dress that I attempted to give her a dress that I'd been wearing the day before. It was clean. It had been washed. And she looked at it and she said to me, "Oh no, not this. I don't want it. It's rubbish." And gave it back to me. And then I was like, well, I still like it, so maybe it's just as well you don't want it because I'm going to wear it some more. So I think it's all about perception.
Yeah, and find another use.
Yes, absolutely. So I noticed that we're coming near to the end of our time, Gretel. I would like to thank you so much for giving us this little window into your world. I appreciate it so much. Do you have any parting thoughts, parting words for anybody who might be watching us from the Upcycled Cloth Collective?
Just enjoy it.
That's a great sentiment.
Just enjoy it. Think outside the box. Never mind what anyone else thinks. Just enjoy it.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.